Here's what you need to know for today, Wednesday, October 9th. Well, here's one thing you need to know if you're listening to this the day it comes out. Before we get started, a brief reminder this is your last call for comedy in New York. Tonight, YMH Studios, in collaboration with Red Circle, Podscribe, and Sounds Profitable, is taking over New York Comedy Club for an evening of networking and comedy. Register as soon as possible for consideration, as space is incredibly limited. Link to that can be found in the newsletter version of today's episode or at soundsprofitable.com. Anyway, up first, Advertising Week briefing. Marketers are taking the athlete influencer opportunity seriously. Today's coverage of Advertising Week New York continues with today's focus looking at panels on brand advertising and sports. The growth and maturation of brands' relationships to influencer marketing has had a knock-on effect when working with athletes. Brands are more used to working with a single person, and modern athletes are more familiar with operating as an influencer, if not fully being an influencer in their own right, in addition to playing their chosen sport. Next up, influencers are shepherding their online followers to IRL events as they look to build communities and make money. Touring's not just for musicians and stand-up comics anymore, with influencers hitting the road with everything from live show presentations to screenings of new videos. Children's animated series Battle for Dream Island recently sold out the Saban Media Center in North Hollywood with a watch party for their newest season. Podcasting is no stranger to live shows and touring, but with the influx of online media personalities doing live events, the infrastructure for smaller-scale touring operations has been built over the last few years. Next up in the Questions 2 series from Podnews, Questions 2, Spotify's Maya Prahovnik. Podnews editor James Cridland sat down with Spotify VP of Podcast Product Maya Prahovnik, who oversees internal teams that build new tools and features for the podcast side of Spotify. When asked how important video is to podcasters, Prahovnik stated Spotify will always be an audio-first platform. That said, Spotify data strongly suggests video helps a podcast find its audience faster. She also notes Spotify recognizes the importance of RSS feeds in podcasting and plans to continue supporting both on- and off-platform distribution of shows via RSS. And finally, Magna Media Trials and Spotify reveal key strategies for effective podcast advertising. The latest Magna Media Trial study, done in partnership with Spotify, was conducted in the US using test ads that looked for respondent reactions to ad length, music, voiceover tone, and contextual alignment. When compared to 15-second ads, the 30-second test spots have a 29% higher impact on aided ad recall when measured by audience, as well as a 36% increase in recall for audiences who hadn't purchased that brand before. Mellow voiceovers scored higher recall and purchase intent than ads that contain music. As for the rest of the news, Claritas and AudioStack are entering into a strategic partnership focused on AI development. RSS.com has rolled out a new sponsorship opportunity section for podcasts hosted on the platform with over 1,000 monthly downloads. Headliner is releasing enhanced tools and support for video podcasts. True Native Media's podcast advertising playbook has a new episode breaking down Podscribe's quarterly benchmark report. Signal Hill Insights' Paul Riesmandel lists 3 ways brand marketing works in podcasting over purely focusing performance marketing. And 2 stars from Love is Blind Season 1 are launching the podcast The Love Seat with Gumball Tap to handle ad sales.